We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. Clerk will read in the roll.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
All members are present.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will now be led in prayer by Reverend Hatchett from the House of the Lord. Immediately following our prayer, we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman McKittrick.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Let us bow for a word of prayer. I appreciate all of you. Heavenly Father, we just thank you in this season of Thanksgiving right now for your people, for these servant leaders and their sacrifice on behalf of your people. We just ask that you would pour out the spirit of wisdom and understanding, that you would pour out strength and fortitude and might upon them, Lord, that they would lead with a culture of honor and with understanding. We just pray for their families, for every unspoken prayer request that they may have. And Father, we ask that you would give us, all of us in the city, under their leadership, a macro vision that would unite your people with such a purpose that light would shine and hope would be manifest, and that your goodness would prevail and saturate our city. For those who are running for different offices and have important work right now, I ask you to bless, Lord, because when righteousness reigns, the people rejoice. And we have been under a moan all over the earth right now. And we just ask for divine protection over every person here and their families and the people in our city. We thank you for the privilege to serve you. And we thank you for hearing our prayers. We commit these things into your hands, believing and trusting. Now may this be a fruitful meeting, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided to all council members. Are there any corrections or additions? If not, can we have a motion to approve? Councilman Swirsky?
Motion to approve.
Second, Councilman Fusco?
Second.
Roll call?
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Before you, you have the consent agenda. Motion to approve. Councilman Freeman?
Yes, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can we have a second by Councilwoman Samples?
Second.
Roll call?
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Hamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
The consent agenda passes 13-0.
Thank you so much. On this evening, we do have public hearings scheduled. Going to ask if clerk will read those items in.
Public hearing number 1. Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 2nd, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to construct a parking space within the front yard setback at 1259 East Avenue.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Jeanette Farrell is requesting permission to construct a parking space adjacent to the East Avenue right-of-way. The desired proximity to the right-of-way requires conditional use approval. The petitioner is attempting to provide a suitable parking space for a handicapped tenant. The general topography of this portion of East Avenue slopes downward immediately from the street at a significant grade. Consequently, the drive does not currently have a level parking surface. The proposed parking space would be paved within the short front yard area. Access to the parking space would be from the petitioner's current driveway on the north side of the dwelling. Planning staff, as well as other city departments, have concerns about the ability to ensure that vehicles would not impede the right-of-way and allow for safe passage of pedestrian traffic on the sidewalk at all times. The Metro RTA bus stop at this location further complicates the situation. Although Metro RTA has indicated that they could move the bus stop, the requested parking space would not seem to solve the need to provide a level parking space without possibly creating other safety issues. Both planning staff and planning commission recommended disapproval. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Antonucci. Is Jeanette Farrell online with us right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And Jeanette, can you turn on your video for us?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so Jeanette, before you bring forth your comments, I'm just going to ask that you're sworn in by a member of our law department.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jeanette, you can bring forth your comments.
Okay, I'm Jeanette Farrell, owner of 1259 East Avenue. And my goal is to get approval to provide an adequate, safe place for tenants to park. It is a duplex. There are 3 individuals who are living in the home. The tenant has a handicapped permit, which you can see here. Also has posted a sign out front of the home that shows disability there. So I am hoping to work with City Council to be able to provide this adequate parking. They have been given permission to go ahead and park here in the front yard to give him easy access and safe access to the front door. As you can see, they are parking there. However, the bumper is just a little bit over the public sidewalk. So we are trying to make it so that they can pull up into this area and have an adequate area to park and not have to block the sidewalk there for pedestrians going back and forth. So here is a picture of that front area. This right here is the sidewalk, and this area would be south of the sidewalk. So to the right, if you're looking at the front of the home and the door. Am I still okay?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So the area here it would go to the corner of the house to put some kind of parking in here. So we would come up to the property line, which is the corner of the house. There's 27 feet in this area to work, to put some form of concrete or asphalt grinding, something in there that would not be yard and making a mud mess of the front yard. And then from the door there to the public sidewalk, there is approximately 15 feet in here to work with. The plan proposal is to put either railroad ties or a concrete barrier here from the corner of the house across on the property line, so that anybody parking up, or the tenants parking up in here, won't infringe on the neighbor's yard here, or her property. So there will be a barrier also coming down the sidewalk, so it is keeping anybody from being able to cross over there onto the sidewalk. Here is the proposal from Mr. Antonucci with the diagram of coming up using the existing driveway to pull up in here and be able to park a car safely. And so looking at the to the north of the home, here is the existing driveway. And it has approximately an 8-foot fall to the bottom here. There is a door that accesses the basement right here, which needs to be accessible from the outside as well as the inside. There's approximately three feet here from the side of the home to the existing driveway. So looking at this in building up this area and still being able to keep an accessible path from the door here going into the garage, and also not having any hazards of the tenant going over the edge there, just does not seem to be a doable project to work with this area of the home. Also at the end of this existing driveway, here's a picture if it shows up well enough. It's just a drop off that existing driveway. So in my opinion, just not a safe area to try and work with. So I'm hoping to be able to work with City Council on this, with whatever they propose in working with the front of the yard here and creating a safe place for tenants. I know, I realize this is a residential place, but businesses are required to have handicap parking spots out front of their business for those individuals that need to park and be close to the front door. So just hoping that City Council will work with me on providing an adequate, safe parking place for this tenant to be able to get out of his vehicle and enter the home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Farrell. Councilman Fusco.
Yes, I'd like to pull the committee to refer this item. Baylor?
Aye.
Thank you. Kamer?
Aye.
Samples?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
Thank you. The report of the committee is to refer this item, and I'd like to ask all committee members and council members to go out and take a really good look at this site. We'll work with planning, and we'll see if, I know they proposed an option on this, a couple options. So we're going to pursue that, and we'll try to work with you, and we'll see what we can do to
All
help.
right. Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. This item will be referred.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 2nd, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a Type A child daycare home at 1290 Country Club Drive.
Thank you so much. There will actually be no public hearing this evening regarding 1290 Country Club. The petitioner did withdraw the conditional use application.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 2nd, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish an automobile sales and service facility at 841 West Exchange Street.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Michael Lewis is requesting permission to establish an automobile sales and service business at this location. Although this property has been left vacant over the past few years, past uses have been a gas station, ambulance service, and hand car wash. The triangularly shaped, roughly 6,000 square foot property contains roughly 48 feet by 25 foot two-bay masonry block garage and office structure. The petitioner intends to renovate and has painted the building. He would repair the hard surface lot and add landscaping at the point of intersecting streets. The chain link fence surrounding the property would be repaired and retained. The petitioner would be engaged in light mechanical work and detailing in addition to the sales of the automobiles. He would employ 3 to 4 individuals from the Akron area. Hours of operation would be from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The property has been left in disrepair and has been an eyesore in the neighborhood in recent years. The proposed improvements will upgrade the structure and grounds and put the property into productive use and maintenance. As such, provided all proposed required improvements are completed prior to any sales or service of vehicles taking place, and storage of vehicles on the lot is limited to no more than 10. The planning staff and planning commission is of the opinion this would be an appropriate use of the property and recommends approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Antonucci. Is the petitioner Michael Lewis on with us this evening? Mr. Lewis? Okay. I don't believe Mr. Lewis is on with us.
He is here. It looks like he's connecting to audio now.
Yes, I am.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Lewis. So before you bring forth your comments, I'm just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department.
Mr. Lewis, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you
Yes.
swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lewis?
How you doing? My name is Michael Lewis, as you know, and I'm taking a property and it's been sitting at least 12 years or more. And I'm cleaning the property up, painting it outside, rehabbing the inside, cleaning it up. And I want to make it a little car lot and a little light mechanic shop for the people in the neighborhood. And hopefully to hire 2 to 3 people in the neighborhood or 4. And sometimes we even look at people that maybe have a little felony or something like that to give them a second chance and to try to make this eyesore where we can make money with it and have some workers and turn it around.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lewis. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report with suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Swirsky,
Oops. Yes to the favorable report.
Samples,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
and Baylor.
Aye.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. The report of the committee is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules. I believe Mr. Neal is in favor of this. He may have some comments. I'd like to yield to Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, as I stated during the afternoon session, I just want to thank Mr. Lewis for investing in the community. He already has one business there. Now he's investing the other side. Many times I'm asked by people, what does it take to turn the community around? It takes people from the community investing in the community. And I'm just appreciative of him working with the city. Like I said, he's worked with Mr. Antonucci in the past to invest in the community and continue to improve it. So thank you, Mr. Lewis.
I really appreciate everyone there too.
Councilman Swirsky?
Yeah, just, yeah, we need low cost service for automobiles. So you're providing a valuable service. You're providing some jobs. So go get them, man. Go get them. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you again. Yeah.
Councilman Fusco?
For the committee is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules. Thank you.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Hamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0.
Thank you. Councilman Fusco, what is your pleasure on the remainder of the agenda?
I would like to request that the clerk read in. We have a substitute offered as an amendment on item number 4.
Substitute offered as an amendment offered by Fusco. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a sports complex and event space and to install additional signage at 532 West Market Street and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. The report of the committees for suspension of the rules with a favorable report. The committee reviewed this in detail last week, and this signifies a significant investment in our community from the LeBron James Foundation in support of the school nearby. This is also known as the Tangier parking deck. The upper area of that is going to be renovated into a significant sports type complex. This substitute, though, is offered so that council will have the final say so in terms of the signage itself. And so we wanted to ensure that we would have that. And so that's what the substitute basically is all about. But we wholeheartedly and heard comments from the committee members and others today that we wholeheartedly support this endeavor and would like to see it go forward this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Fusco. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Hamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0.
Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. The report of the committee is for to file item number 5. That's the petition for the conditional use we just voted on. And the request of the committee is for time on 6 through and including 12. If I'm reading this correctly, we'd like to file item number 13. We just voted on the West Exchange Street conditional use for car sales. And then we'd like to take time on 14, 15, and we would like to file 16. That's the petition for the conditional use for the daycare home at 1290 Country Club Drive, which was withdrawn by the petitioner. And then time on the balance.
Okay, thank you so much. Time will be granted. We will continue with our old business, budget and finance. Councilman Freeman,
Committee requests we continue to take time.
time will be granted. We'll now move into our new business.
Item number 1, offered by Freeman, ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $4 million for the purpose of refunding certain maturities of income tax revenue bonds of the city issued in 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman,
The committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, this item will allow us to refund some old bonds that we had out and then reissue $4 million worth of bonds. The rate will be better. It'll save the city literally thousands of dollars. With that, we ask for its passage.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Hamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Oh.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 2 was the substitute that we already dealt with. Item number 3, offered by Fusco, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a 5-year lease agreement with an option to renew with the County of Summit, Ohio for lease of office space in the Pry Building at 1180 South Main Street in Akron and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco,
Consent agenda.
this item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 4, offered by Samples, ordinance determining to proceed with the improvement of Waterloo Road between the termini of Interstate 77 and 100 feet east of Brewster Creek by constructing and reconstructing curbs, concrete sidewalks, and driveway approaches, amending Section 8 of Resolution number 240-2020 and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
I think it's me.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Samples?
That's okay. The committee is asking for consent.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 5, offered by Samples, ordinance authorizing the mayor, the director of public service, the director of finance, the director of law, the director of planning, and/or the director of neighborhood assistance through the office of the purchasing agent to purchase miscellaneous supplies, services, repair parts, and labor for machinery and equipment used by various divisions and departments of the city, authorizing payment therefore, amending ordinance number 134-2020, passed May 18th, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Samples?
Thank you, Madam President. Consent agenda, please.
This item will also be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 6, offered by Samples, ordinance ratifying the actions of the purchasing agent in purchasing miscellaneous supplies, repair parts, and labor for machinery and equipment used by the Departments of Public Safety, Public Service, and Finance for fiscal year 2020, authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into the purchase agreements, authorizing payment therefore, and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Samples?
Consent agenda, please.
This item will also be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 7, offered by Swirsky, ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into a contract or contracts with Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated to purchase video surveillance software licensing for use at the Akron water plant and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Swirsky?
The report of the committee is favorable and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. Councilman Swirsky, any further comment?
No, this is just sort of clearing up a previous error about the exact title of the company that we're contracting with. It's a very much needed service. And so we urge its passage this evening.
Thank you so much, Councilman Swirsky. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 8, offered by Mayor Horrigan, ordinance amending and or supplementing Title III Administration, Chapter 31, Departments, Boards, and Commissions, Section 31.38 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Akron, Ohio, replacing reference to the Senior Citizens Commission with Commission on Aging, replacing references to senior citizens with older adults, reflecting that the commission consists of up to 13 members as established in Ordinance number 267-1991 and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Amobian.
Committee wishes to put this on the consent agenda. I'd like to add my name to it as well, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This item will be placed on the consent agenda. Before we move into our public comment period, we actually do have Mayor Horrigan online with us, who's just really going to just give us an update as it regards to Election Day tomorrow.
Oh, well, thank you. Listen, I want to thank Michelle and the Family Foundation for investment into Tangiers, and thank Mr. Lewis for a dilapidated building that he's investing into the neighborhoods. Just so you're all aware, and I know you read as much as everybody else does, but we've undergone an effort over the last couple of months to ensure voter safety and voter accuracy, and work with federal and state partners to ensure that there are a lot of resources and people out tomorrow. And even as I said on the town hall today, none of us may not like the results at some particular point, but we've always had trust in the process. And I want to make sure that we reaffirm that point, that the Board of Elections is run by a bipartisan group of our friends and neighbors that we know. And this process has been set down for literally 50, 60, 70 years about how they count votes, on how they tabulate ballots, and how they make people feel safe. And so that has been the message over the last 2 months, is to make sure people feel safe when they're going to the voting booth or to the polling location, to early voting. And so we just want to make sure that message does get out there, and we're going to make sure that does happen. We've worked with the Board of Elections and with all of our state and federal partners, and even local, to make sure that polling locations stay open. If you get in line at 7:30, you can stay in line. All those little things that sometimes happen on Election Day, that we are all concerned about, that sometimes may be a little bit highlighted in this particular cycle. And we've all gone through these, and we've all heard the complaints. And I think the rhetoric has gotten turned up a little bit from a couple of different levels. But I think in Summit County, and I think across the state of Ohio, they've done an excellent job of making people feel safe. We've had a record number of early turnout, which is well over 2 million people in the state of Ohio. I think Summit County has about 180,000 people that have voted already. It ended today at 2 o'clock. This is an important process. As many of you have mentioned before, we are here to serve the people. And as they vote and as their mandate comes down, we accept that. And I think that's been the rhetoric from here and from the state of Ohio. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that we do have resources planned for anything that may happen. And this is across the state, but making sure people feel like it is safe to go into the polling location. They can cast their ballot and they can go home just like it always does. I don't anticipate a whole lot of long lines, just because so many people have early voted already, which has gone off really well. And I early voted. Many of you have maybe have also. So I'm more than happy to take any questions. I just want to let you know that we've been planning for this for at least a couple of months with a lot of different people. And if you had any questions about specifics of where you should go on a particular day, or if you see something, obviously there are always those resources at your fingertips when it comes to whatever may be happening at a polling location or anywhere else. Just know that we're here to answer those questions and make sure people feel like they're it's safe at the polling location. So if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Mayor Horgan, thank you so much. I know that there's been a lot of time put into this, just making sure that, voters can go and exercise their rights safely. So thank you so much. I don't see any questions at this time. So
I
thank
appreciate
you.
all of your service. I know public service gets a knock sometimes, but I think you guys do an excellent job of representing your constituents in the city. So thank you, and I look forward to talking to you after tomorrow.
We'll now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. And our clerk will read in those comments for this evening.
This is from Andrew Murasan. I oppose the selling of 43 acres of woodlands above Cuyahoga Valley National Park. I oppose the sale of this property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to private developers, and I support the sale of this public land to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for protection and conservation so that future generations can enjoy the green space. There's no name on this one. I oppose the sale of the property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to private developers and recommend that it instead be preserved for its citizens to enjoy. This is from Alexis Bashara. I vehemently oppose the sale of the 43-acre property located between Tice Road and Hardy Road and Northampton Road to private housing developers. As a 25-year-old who proudly works in Merriman Valley 5 days a week and frequently travels up Tice Road, I urge you to consider the environmental impacts of this land being destroyed for the sake of houses. It is my understanding that the many proposals that include the vast majority of this acreage to be cut down and cleared for building houses have not included an environmental impact study. That said, I don't think it truly takes an environmental impact study for us to know that the development of this land would cause serious issues to the valley below. 43 acres of impervious surfaces would create detrimental runoff and flooding concerns, which would affect the residents and ecological function below the proposed development site. Increased traffic flow would also be hard to mitigate and create similar concerning effects for both residents and the valley as a living, breathing ecological entity. Additionally, I know the city of Akron prides itself on its proximity to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, the only national park in all of Ohio, and all of the joys that come with it, as well as its relationship with metro parks. Selling this property to private developers would go against the values of the city of Akron and its residents and take away valuable property that could otherwise be preserved for nature and recreational uses. I, however, do support the sale of this land to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy so that this land may be preserved for proper ecological function and for recreational use in the future. As a 25-year-old who sees part of my future here, and to give a nod to the greatest woman of our times, it is my most fervent wish that this land is kept in the hands of those who could treat it with respect. With Sycamore Village already being installed just a stone's throw away, I urge you to leave the land off of Tice Road that abuts the National Park and Hampton Hills mountain bike area to the people. Please do not sell this land to private developers. I thank you for your time and consideration. This is from Samantha Phillips. I am writing in opposition of the sale of the 43 acres between Tice Road and Hardy Roads and to private developers. I support the sale of this property to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy with the development of a master plan to protect this forest. Our national park and its contiguous forests and natural areas are national treasures that must be preserved and protected. Please don't sell this land to private developers. This is from Anthony Petty. As a resident of Akron, I oppose the sale of the property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to a private developer. That land should be sold to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy so the CVNP can be increased in size. The CVNP is a gem in Northeast Ohio. Respect it. It's a crime against nature to put houses in this area. Do the right thing. Keep housing developments away from the CVNP. Thanks for listening. This is from Kay Clark. How can some future real estate tax compensate for the loss of irreplaceable, ecologically valuable land in the valley? Better promotion of the reuse of derelict residential lots in the city would bring more benefits. The Tice Road property should be a crowning jewel of preservation for the city of Akron. I have been proud to live in Akron. Hate to see its image tarnished. This is from Francisca Ugald. I write to you to speak my mind about the proposed sale of land between Tice Road and Hardy Road. I ask that this land is sold to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for further preservation of one of the greatest assets this area has. Please keep this land open to the public instead of allowing private construction to take over this space. Thank you. This is from Danielle Lowry. Hello, I'm writing to voice my opposition to selling the 43 acres of woodlands between Tice Road and Hardy Road near the valley to private developers. COVID has made it possible to work remotely. I recently moved from Pittsburgh to my hometown of Akron because I can now work remotely. I choose to live near the valley because of the greenery and the closeness to city amenities. It's a best of both worlds situation. I'm a millennial who swore I would never move back to a small city, but this area is beautiful and should be preserved. If you want to continue attracting younger people to this city, you should think about the amenities that they desire. Green space is what younger generations are looking for in a hometown. Don't make the mistake of overdeveloping. It's not the 1950s anymore. And this is from Michael Lewis. My name is Michael Lucas. As a resident of the Akron area around Cuyahoga Valley National Park, I am writing to express my views regarding possible development around Tice and Hardy Roads that is being considered. I oppose the sale of this property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to private developers, and I support the sale of this land to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, along with the development of a master plan for the protection of the Cuyahoga Valley region. Thank you for your consideration. And then we have one voicemail that I'll play as well.
Good evening, council members. It's Carol Coleman Crane with Team Towing and Service at 645 Carroll Street here in Akron, calling you all once again and asking to be included in the towing district for the Akron Police Department. I sent you an email last week and I had an attachment of the towing district, and I explained to you in the email that Bowers is servicing districts 1 and 2. Greg's Towing is servicing districts 3 and 5. My business is in Ward 5. I am asking to be included in the towing district, in particular Ward 5, where my business resides. As I explained to you in the email, Greg's has 2 areas that they service. Bowers also has 2 areas they service. Johnny's is just Ward 4. He also has 2 services. He actually has an impound lot and a interstate. He owns interstate in Twinsburg. He does not reside in Akron. I do reside in Akron. I raised my kids in Akron. My kids attended Akron Public Schools. My employees live in Akron. Their kids attend Akron Public Schools. We tow for over 50% of Akron residents through AAA. We also tow, we're contracted with the United States Postal Service. We also tow for the Ohio State Highway Patrol, as well as several private businesses and residents, garages, and we can now add city vehicles to that list. I have almost 30 employees. I have almost 30 trucks. We received 2 awards this year, which I think are amazing. We remained open during this whole pandemic. We continue to remain open. We continue to service 24 hours a day. I'm a certified minority business owner. I don't know what else to do to get included in this APD district. Unfortunately, Mr. Bishop has passed away, who services districts 1 and 2. Prime example, as I said on my email, how these just get passed on to the next person and no one on the outside can seem to get in. I've done everything that I've been instructed to do to get into the towing district, and I still am not in. I did get, and I invited you all, if you would feel inclined to do so, to come and visit my place of business. Certainly everyone is welcome. Any questions you might have, please contact me. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
That concludes our public comments received for this evening. I want to thank everyone who participated. At this time, we'll now move into our committee assignments, rules. Councilman Freeman.
245.
Public Safety, Councilman Kamer.
215.
Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
3 p.m.
Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal.
145.
Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
1.
Housing and Neighborhood Assistance, Councilman Fusco.
Subject to call.
Public Service, Councilwoman Samples.
2 o'clock.
Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Amobian.
2:30.
Public Utilities, Councilman Swirsky.
2:45.
Thank you. Is there anything else coming before council at this time?
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn. Seeing, oh wait, we do
Madam
see,
President?
I do see a hand. Councilman Malik does have a comment, but if you guys can please use the raise hand function, that way I'll be able to see you. Councilman Malik?
Thank you very much. Just given all the comments about Tice Road and Hardy Road, I want to make sure to also give my weekly update about those. I had a very productive meeting with Councilman Swirsky and Councilman Stams from Cuyahoga Falls and our City of Akron Planning Director and our City of Cuyahoga Falls Planning Director about our joint master planning efforts in the Merriman Valley. And so by the end of the year, the two cities are going to select a consultant, and then that process is going to go throughout next year. So hopefully the goal is to take a lot of this discussion that is happening right now about this specific project and channel it into constructive discussion about what we're building in the Valley as a more general topic. There will, of course, continue to be discussion about the specific property at issue at Tice Road and Hardy Road, and certainly keep all of you updated as those decisions go forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Malik, for that update. Councilman Neal, did you have a comment?
Yes, ma'am. Things. One, I appreciate the discussion that took place this afternoon about the daycare in Councilman Malik's ward. But there were some things that stated that I think we as a council need to address to make sure. I think we need to reevaluate our zoning policy, because there were some comments made about how when an area is oversaturated or when certain businesses are allowed to come into the area, how it affects property value. And I'd like for us not to just be concerned with property value in certain sections of our city, but overall. There they were talking about a daycare. In some of our wards, the concern is the oversaturation of group homes. And I know that there are housing codes that restrict us from doing certain things, but I think for the benefit of creating equity policy throughout our city, we need to get with our zoning department and look at how, where we are approving certain things and where we are being more restricted. And again, I just appreciate that conversation, but not every community is able to advocate for their community the way that one was. That's number one. Number two, I want to encourage all of my members on council to get word out to your constituents to check their utility bills. My wife was checking some utility bills on some investment properties that we have. We got an electric bill that was 3 times. The bill was $200, it came through at $600. We got another bill that was $80, it came through at $166. I'm not going to mention what company it was, but I think that companies know that there is COVID money out there to help people with utility bills, and they are billing in advance. So I encourage you to check first your own utility bills, but encourage especially those of your constituents who are older to have someone that they trust audit their bills. I got word out to one of the nonprofits in our communities that work with people so that they could keep an eye out for that. And then last but not least, I just have to ask, what is our delay with Ms. Carol Coleman Crane? What is delaying us as council? She's been coming to us now for 3 years. I believe Councilwoman Terry Mosley Samples shared with us over 1,000 something days. I know I've sent an email expressing my concern back in February of this year. So do we have to call a special meeting, or what is delaying us as a council moving on her request? Again, we cannot talk about us being understanding what equity is about and not moving on something just as so blatant as this as an inequitable practice. So I'm asking this council right now, do we need to call a special meeting, or what is delaying us from addressing Ms. Carol Coleman Crane's issue?
Thank you so much, Councilman Neal. Probably want to refer you to have a conversation with Councilwoman Samples. We will be having some conversations, so I just urge you to get in contact with her because she has been working diligently on this. So thank you so much. We do have a motion for adjournment. If there are no objections.
Hey.
Okay, please, I'm going to ask that you guys please use the raise hand
I
function.
did.
I won't be able to see you. Councilman Swirsky?
Yeah, I did earlier. I just want to thank everybody for running those really good letters about preserving the valley, both in tone and content, and to hear so many Akron residents participating in this discussion. And I want you to know that your voices are being heard, and I think you're going to be pleased with some future results. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Seeing no objections on the adjournment, meeting adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville presiding.